Good day and happy holidays to you. I'm honored to be able to do a collaboration with my friend, Jesus. And I asked a favor that we could go ahead and share a Christmas story together. And so I'd like you to take just a few minutes now. Sit back, draw a little blanket if you need, get close to the fire if you want, or just kind of turn down the lights a bit as we go ahead and share a very special story with you. And now, the story of the rose, the legend. On a cold December night, everybody was coming to see their new Savior and brought him all kinds of gifts and presents. The three wise men came in with their valuable gifts of myrrh, frankincense, and gold and offered them to baby Jesus. At that point, a shepherdess, Madeline, who had seen the wise men passing through, reached the door of the stable to see the child. However, being very poor and having brought nothing to offer the child, she felt helpless and started weeping quietly at the sight of all the wonderful gifts that the three wise men had gotten for the child. Earlier, she had searched in vain for flowers all over the countryside, but there was not even a single bloom to be found in the bitter winter.
An angel outside the door was watching over her and knew about her fruitless search. He took pity on her, and when he saw her head drooped down in sorrow, decided to help her with a little miracle. He gently brushed aside the snow at her feet and where her tears had fallen, sprang a beautiful cluster of waxen white winter roses with pink-tipped petals. Then he softly whispered into the shepherdess's ear that these Christmas roses are far more valuable than any myrrh, frankincense, or gold, for they are pure and made of love. The maiden was pleasantly surprised when she heard those words and joyfully gathered the flowers and offered them to the holy infant, who, seeing that the gift was reared with tears of love, smiled at her with gratitude and satisfaction. Thus, the Christmas rose came to symbolize hope, love, and all that is wonderful in this season.
Christmas is the season of giving gifts, thereby showing love towards one another. This doesn't mean that the gifts are the sole expression of your love. No gift is costlier or more valuable than something that comes straight from the heart, even if the gift in question is inconsequential. The tradition of giving gifts during Christmas originated from the kind gestures of the three wise men who brought expensive gifts for the infant Jesus to welcome him into this world. And since then, people have made gifts a mandate at Christmas.
But this must be remembered, as the legend of Christmas Rose will show you, that the gesture counts more than the gift. Perhaps this legend originated just to teach people that no matter what you gift, it must be from the heart and soul, even if the gift in question is just a flower. It is owing to the legend that the Christmas rose, the flower which only blooms during the chill of winter, has become an important part of Yuletide celebrations.
Good evening, boys and girls, moms and dads. Please come and join me and my family for some special holiday stories. This one is particularly special. It's all about the holidays. So please grab a box of popcorn, pull up everybody, go ahead and get your favorite puppy in here with you. Please gather with me and my family as we begin. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Whos would start singing. They'd sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing. Sing, sing, sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas Sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why? For 53 years, I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how? The Grinch had an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do. The Grinch laughed in his throat as he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. He chuckled and chuckled. What a great Grinchy trick. And with his coat and his hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around. But since the reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No. The Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max. Then he took some red thread. He tied a big horn on top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh as he hitched to old Max. Then the Grinch said, "Giddy up!" and the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. All the windows were dark. Quiet snow filled the air. All the Who's were dreaming sweet dreams without cares. When he came to the first little house in the square, "This is a stop, number 1, the old Grinch Claus hissed. And he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist, as he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch. But if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He only got stuck once, for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who stockings all hung in a row. These stockings, he grinned, they're the first to go. Then he stifled and slunk, with a smile most unpleasant. Around the whole room, he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates and drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn and plums. He stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney. Then he slunk into the icebox, and he took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beef. He cleaned out the icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took the last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. And now, grinned the Grinch. And now, grinned the Grinch. And now, grinned the Grinch, I stuff up the tree. And the Grinch grabbed the tree as he started to shove, when he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast, and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou Who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter. Who'd got out of bed for a cup of cold water. He stared at the Grinch and said, "Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?" But you know that old Grinch was so smart and so slick. He thought up a lie, and he thought it up quick. "Why, my sweet little lot. Why, my sweet little tot," said the fake Santa. "Why, my sweet little tot," the fake Santa lied. "There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side, so I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there and then bring it back here." As his fib fooled the child, he then patted her head. He then got her a drink and sent her off to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went up the chimney and stuffed the tree up. The last thing he took was the log of their fire. He then went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On the walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for the mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was 1/4 dawn, all the Who's were still abed, and all the Who's still a snooze, while he packed up his sled. Packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags, the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet. He rode with his load up tip-top to dump it. Pooh-pooh to the Who's, his Grinchinishly smiled and humming. They'll find out now that no Christmas is coming. They'll wake up. I just know what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open for a minute or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry, boo, hoo. That's a noise, the Grinch smiled, that I simply must hear. So as he paused, the Grinch put his hand to his ear. And as he did hear a sound rising over the snow, it started low, then began to grow. The sound wasn't sad, why, the sound was quite merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes, then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming, it came. Somehow or the other, it just came the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours, till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't thought of before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And any minute grew 3 sizes that day. The minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed and... Nope. That the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light. And he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beef. Thank you all for joining me tonight as my family and you wish you all a very merry good night.
And whoever edits this, thank you.
Merry men! Ho, 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 ho. La, 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 la. I steal from the rich and I give to the needy. He take a little wee percentage. Ah, but I'm not greedy. I rescue the pretty damsels. Man, I'm good. Oh, what a guy, Monsieur Hood. Monsieur Hood, break it down. I like an honest fight and a little pussy made. Ho, ho, ho. He's basically saying he like to get paid. So, Monsieur Hood, when a new gal in the bush grabs a lady by the touche, that's a bad. And when a beauty is with a beast, it makes me awfully mad. He's mad. I'll take my blade and ram it through your heart. Keep your eyes on me, boys. I'm about to start. Grunts, groans, karate kicking, men gasping. Man, that was annoying.